Hi, it's Melanie Benson-Strick here, host of New Era Success TV and America's leading authority on optimum performance. And I got a question for you. Have you ever sat there and got paralyzed or ruminated about a decision because you just didn't know what decision to make? Or maybe you recognize that you have to take fast action as an entrepreneur, but over and over and over again, you're making one mistake after another, realizing that you're wasting your time, your money, and your energy on projects that just are not paying off for you. Well, here's something that I get asked all the time as a coach and a mentor to a lot of very successful 6- and 7-figure business owners, and that is, how do I know where I should put my time, money, and energy? How do I know what opportunities to say yes to? And it's one of the most common challenges that either sucks the life out of us trying to figure out, or causes us to get paralyzed and not move forward at all. And then in a way, you're making an unconscious decision to not say yes to it, and then paying the consequences if it really was a great opportunity for you. And I've seen this happen in all kinds of things. Working with an expert or a consultant or a coach, trying to decide which one to hire, what type of marketing campaign to do, whether or not to host an event, whether or not to speak at an event, whether or not to hire a team member, which person to hire, what to focus on. I see it on what type of speaking engagements that we want to pursue. It touches us in every single area of our life. One of the biggest ones is whether or not to let a client go, if there's somebody that's really draining the life force out of you. And we tend to say yes a lot of times for the wrong reasons, and then resist getting the situation handled. On a really inane, silly level, I'm the worst at planning parties. And every time I'm going to plan a party, I drag my feet, I get paralyzed, I don't really like all the nuances of figuring things out. I'm always like, afraid I'm going to forget somebody. I can't even get it out. It flusters me so much. And it's just something that I don't really like to make good decisions on. I do the same thing with traveling. Which flight should I take? There's all these choices. Which one is going to get me in at the right time? Should I wait a little bit longer and see if the price is going to go down? Should I book a first class seat or not? I mean, all these things are going through my head. And then I drag my feet, and the next thing I know, I'm paying double for the fare, or I don't get the flights that I want. Now, I'm being really honest with you and transparent because we all do it. We do it about silly things. I've done it on hiring people. I've done it on every single part of running a business. And it costs us. It costs us energetically. It costs us emotionally. It costs us our confidence. And in a lot of ways, if we do it all the time, it becomes a really bad habit that causes us to lose faith in our own decision-making process. So that's why many years ago, when I first created my coaching tool called Ultimate Success Generator, I created a very simple process called the high return on investment filter. How do we decide what's the best investment for our time, money, and energy? And you can get a copy of the product. It's an Ultimate Success Generator. I tackle it in every single program I do. I cover it in Money DNA. I cover it in the Big Idea Incubator. I use it in everything because it is probably the most common question and place where people break down. But I think today it would be really helpful if I just give you a couple of insights, a couple of techniques of what's involved in creating your very own decision-making filter, so you can start getting to a yes or a no much faster and get back into action. So one of the first things I always look at is, what is it that you really want? And it's amazing how many times we don't either we don't know what we really want, or what we want is in conflict with something else. And I'll go back to my example of the party for a second. Sometimes I have mixed feelings about what I want. I want to be around all my friends, or I want to be around all my family. And I'm also really invested in supporting my clients and maybe getting a new program out. So it feels like it's in conflict. If I say yes to planning this party, now I'm going to be focused on that and not focused on something else. That might sound really simple, but when it comes to being really focused on what you want, when you say yes to things that are not in alignment with that, you will be distracted. So for me, planning the party, I oftentimes will have to look at, well, what else is on my plate? And what do I really want to have happen here? Do I, what's the end goal? And can I get there in another way? And sometimes it's like, I got to keep it simple. Sometimes it's more about just inviting a few people over just to enjoy each other's company. And sometimes I do want to have a big blowout. So now let's take it into a business decision for a second. What do I really, really want? Here's one of the most common places that I see people get stuck. Do I really, really want to grow and be able to have more income, to be able to have more success? And let's say you're really close to making six figures, and maybe you're making 80 grand a year, but you just have this deep desire to get past six figures. It feels like a huge accomplishment. And yet, when you look at what it's going to take to get you over that next mark, you think to yourself, do I really want to do that? Now, if you're not working with someone who really understands how to keep things simple, it might feel really complicated. You might be looking at a lot of activity and start to feel like you're going to have to lose something that's important to you, like time freedom or bandwidth to be with your kids, or you feel like you're going to have to work too hard and it's going to catapult you right back to all those horrible times you felt trapped in a job. Well, if you're in conflict with what you really, really want, whatever this decision is going to get put on hold. You're going to feel paralyzed. At one point, I was working with a client, and he was a very successful guy in the real estate industry, and he owned his own business, and he had a big team, and he had this goal that he wanted to start to speak more. And so we would work on his whole protocol and this whole system for him to be speaking more and how to monetize it and turn it into something really juicy. But he wouldn't do anything with it. And it was because deep down inside, he knew speaking was going to put him on the road, and he had a family with small children, and he didn't really want to be away from them. So it felt in conflict. So it wasn't the right time to move forward on that in that way, and we had to look for other ways for him to get that need met, to really get him juiced up and feel like he was using that genius skill he had without taking it away. So we had to pattern the goal to something that was more in alignment. And every day, all day long, this is what's going on inside of you if you're holding back from making a decision or pursuing something you want. It's probably in conflict. It's why so many people get such a huge breakthrough in my Money DNA Mastery program. Because when you resolve these inner conflicts, you get set free, almost like somebody takes the lid off and you just go whoosh, and everything that you've been dreaming about all of a sudden is in congruence and you can achieve it. So once you get really clear on what you want, the second step is really looking at what's it going to take to get there. So if I say yes to this, what do I have to be willing to do? And do I have time for it? Do I have the resources for it? Do I have a system to make it profitable? So then we have to start looking at the practical pieces of what will it take. The third thing we have to ask ourselves is, what is it that we need to be able to do to make it profitable? So more than just making money, I like to identify what's it going to take to make this decision a profitable return on investment. Now, there may be times you just have to experiment and decide, do I like it? I need to do it once. I need to say yes because of some other factors that are important to me. But we also have to look at, is it profitable? If it's not profitable and you keep doing it, why? Is it because it's feeding a need that you have and it's serving something else? It could be a loss leader. It could be something that you say yes to that results in other business. And it could be something that you're doing for all the wrong reasons and you've just got sucked into a bad habit. Now, there's a lot of different factors that I include when we build a formula for each and every person that I work with. But another really common element, and we'll close with this one today, is it fun? Is it going to light you up? Is it going to bring you joy to do it? I was having a conversation with a really good friend of mine who we talk and share ideas all the time. And she was telling me that one of her friends was trying to convince her to do something because she's good at it. And she's done it a couple times and she's good at it. And she said, Melanie, I'd rather go to the orthodontist and get braces on again before I would do that for a living all day. She said it would suck me dry. And that's what happens. Just because we're good at something doesn't mean it's where we want to spend our time. And when we get really savvy with understanding, is this something that's going to light me up and cause me to expand and have fun and it's going to bring me joy, or saying yes to it contracts me? Why would you say yes? Are you saying yes just for the money? for the prestige, for the credibility, for an opportunity to get in front of your ideal clients, why would you say yes if it's not fun? And if you're saying yes and it's not going to expand you, you need to ask yourself why. Now here's the one caveat. Sometimes we have to do things because they're uncomfortable, because we have to break free of limiting beliefs and a comfort zone that's been keeping us playing really safe. But you've got to learn the difference between playing it safe and being comfortable and creating something that you love and doing the things that need to be done to expand. And there's a big difference. Just because you don't like it in this moment doesn't necessarily mean it's not good for you to learn it. And yeah, that one can be a little tricky. And I'd welcome your comments about how do you know the difference in the comments below. So this has been a really juicy conversation that we're starting here about how do you know when to say yes? What's going to get your time and attention? What will you say yes to expand your impact, your legacy, your financial well-being, and your brilliance on this planet? Let's share some ideas in the comments below. I'm Melanie Benson Strick, host of New Era Success TV. I look forward to reading your comments, and we'll see you next week.